Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at our respective abodes. Rico, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I realize my camera's a little dark right now, and I kind of feel bad, but
It is.
I
You're
don't
in dark
really.
mode. You're in
I
dark
wonder
mode.
if I wonder if I can get like a little ring light or something going on. I don't know. We'll see. We'll mess with some stuff. We'll see what can happen. But I'm doing great, man. How was your Thanksgiving? Did you eat all
Uh,
of the dry turkey?
no, I had zero turkey. I had no turkey at all. You know what we did for food yesterday?
What?
This is going to be sacrilegious to some. It was good though. We did a nacho and taco bar. That was Thanksgiving.
I can't,
What?
You told me you were doing that, and I still can't.
You didn't think you didn't believe me?
No, I knew you would. Like I knew you were going to. I don't like it. I
Why
don't like
not?
it.
Why not? It was
It's
good.
because it's not it's there
It was
like
good.
there are very few like holidays that I'm like, you need to respect tradition. You need to do exact like you need to and then Thanksgiving is one of them.
Yeah?
Thanksgiving is it's I respect Thanksgiving so much. Maybe it's because I'm a November birthday. I respect Thanksgiving so much that I refuse to do anything Christmas related until after Thanksgiving, which is why I now have the Darth Vader Christmas shirt on because it's after Thanksgiving. So now I'm all in on Christmas.
Yeah, so we're very much Christmas people. We're a Christmas family, not so much a Thanksgiving family. I
Hmm.
think I've told you that. So my wife loves decorating for Christmas. So we have ours is a November 1st rule. Once November 1st
Mm.
hits, she's allowed to decorate for Christmas. I used to be a Thanksgiving cutoff guy, but it
Hmm.
just makes her so happy. I'm like, I don't care. That's like
I
that's a
can't. I can't do this.
well, and I don't care really. Like I don't have a good reason to be like, oh, it's like I don't even like Thanksgiving that much. It's fine.
Yeah,
Like I don't dislike it. It's just as far as holidays go, it doesn't do a lot for me. And so I'm like, why do I care if we're skipping ahead to Christmas? That's cool. Like that doesn't bother. And
because
it makes
you need to respect Thanksgiving. The
why?
Thanksgiving
Why?
Thanksgiving gets no respect, and I dislike it. It's one of the best holidays around, and nobody respects it. Everybody just wants to skip to Christmas.
Yeah, I do want to skip to Christmas. Christmas is better.
It's not. It's not. It's just not. I'm
Headley
sorry.
says
Like I
Christmas is
understand.
Christmas is more important. Thanksgiving, more important than Thanksgiving. Birth of our Savior over pilgrims. Tough to argue. Tough to argue, Rico.
I mean,
Many are saying.
Headley, without the pilgrims, we wouldn't even be here to celebrate the birth of our Savior. You know where it would be? In England, under a king
Were they
or a
famous
queen.
king again?
King
Now
now.
it's a king again.
King now.
Um, I'm just saying, famously, England still also celebrates Christmas. So
Yes,
like,
no, I understand, but do you want to eat English food?
no, English food is actually I would rank it up there as some of the worst food out there.
Exactly.
It's pretty bad.
So your Christmas would be fish and chips.
I
I don't
do
know.
like I do like fish and chips. They do other stuff for we actually have a couple friends that live in England, and they were doing like a roast with mushy peas yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, I'm out on that. I'm not doing
Nope.
mushy peas."
Nope.
I was like,
Nope. See, exactly. So
my
without the
main
pilgrims,
my main complaint about peas is that they are mushy, and you want me to eat them after you've made them more
you
mushy.
you already mushed them and you want me to mush them more.
That's a
Hard pass.
pass. That's a pass
Also,
for me.
didn't the pilgrims come to America for like religious freedom?
Yes, they did, which is why they
So,
would probably also agree that Christmas is more important.
I mean, can't disagree with that one, but
How was
Thanksgiving
how was your Thanksgiving, Rico?
kind of it was great. Went over
Yeah.
to my family's. We switch off holidays. So we were in Omaha with my family. We'll be up in Orchard for Christmas with Rachel's family for Christmas. But we were in Omaha and it was great. There might be some pictures coming out here shortly or in the next over the next few weeks that I was wearing or may not have been wearing. It could be AI, a pink Christmassy fuzzy overalls.
Okay, that's a move. That is a move.
So it could have been AI. I cannot confirm nor deny that, but that may have happened.
You got to watch out. AI is getting out of control here, guys. It's
Yeah,
out of
crazy.
Funky Giblet says beans with breakfast. No, thank you. Agreed. I agree. Honestly, they eat more beans than I feel like anyone should.
Yeah, too many beans.
Feels like there's a lot of beans in the British diet.
I've seen a British breakfast, and I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, it's like the
Beans
sliced
and
tomato.
and the blood sausage. Like some people like blood sausage. Whatever. Like you can, but I don't need that for breakfast with beans and tomatoes.
Maybe I'm immature. That's on the table here.
We are.
Could we call it something besides blood sausage? I feel like my chances of liking it are better if we just called it like I don't know, just anything else.
Dark sausage.
Sure. Just call it like
there are times where like I'll see something, I'm like, oh, that looks kind of potentially appetite. Like I could eat that, and then they like say a name, and I'm like, never mind.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
Hard
I
pass.
would look at that and be like, the beans are fine. It's weird for breakfast. I'm probably gonna pass on the tomato. Oh, sausage, that's nice. And like, oh, it's blood sausage. Like, no, I'm good.
I'm done now.
I'm good. Yeah, Dan Coyote, I have watched British school kids eat American food. My favorite one is when they try barbecue, and it seems like their tiny little British brains cannot comprehend what's happening to them right now.
Yep.
They're like, wait, this has been an option for food all along. What have we been doing?
Especially with like the brisket. They're like, it looks burnt. Why would I eat that? Why is it burnt? And I'm just sitting there and I go, I'm like, eat it. Eat it, you're gonna love it. And then they do. And they or the video of the two British dudes who are in America who are at some barbecue restaurant, and they go to try ribs, and they have like a fork and a knife, and like the owner or a cook is like, what are you doing? And they thought they were in trouble, and he goes, put those down, just grab it with your hands and take a bite. He's like, what are you doing?
I'll say too, brisket is probably one of my, I mean, it's pretty low on my barbecue food rankings, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like, so it's very much, we talked about like lamb chops and pork chops on our very live show yesterday.
100% live.
For our food draft.
I was in Omaha, so.
Which I appreciate everybody tuning into that. I told you a lot of people wanted to avoid their family.
I was surprised.
But there was so that's the problem you run into with brisket, right? It's a very high risk, high reward food because it's very easy to dry out.
Yeah.
Like you can dry, and a dry brisket is inedible in my opinion.
The first time I ever made brisket, unfortunate for me, was the day or like a few days before me and Rachel took like our day trip. We left the kids with her sisters, and we took a day trip down to Kansas City. Well, like a 2-day trip down to Kansas City, and we stopped at, I think it was like Q39, and got some brisket there. And I was just like, my brisket sucked. And she's like, they have like, look, they have awards and stuff. I go, nope, mine sucked. It was terrible.
Yeah, brisket's really easy to screw up. It really is. You can dry that thing out in a hurry. Dan Coyote said they dropped a Thanksgiving one yesterday. The other one I really appreciate is there's one of a guy that's been a vegan for like 10 years, and he tries a steak and he just starts like crying because it's so good. He's like, I can't believe how good this is.
Why didn't I try this before?
It's really funny. Well, don't worry, Eric. If you need a little wind down after the game, we'll be here again. He peopled too much for his liking yesterday, which I understand. Sometimes
it is what it is.
Sometimes the social meter, it runs on empty these times of year. So you got to find a nice, like, quiet guest room in somebody's house and just retreat for a few minutes. I definitely understand that. But no, you can always, we'll be back for Hail Varsity postgame show after Nebraska today. We'll be on until 10:30 this morning. We'll have Michael Rose-Ivey joining us in about 20 minutes. So he will, because I had many requests to be like, hey, I know MRI is normally on Thursday. I understand you're not going to have a traditional show on Thursday, even though it was very, very live.
100% traditional.
But so I had many people ask me like, hey, are we still getting MRI this week? And I was like, listen, we'll make it happen. And thank you to Michael for making that happen for us as well. So he'll join us at 9:30. And then we'll have Hail Varsity postgame show right after the game. It'll be Rico and myself once again. But Eric, if you need to, It's all on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube again. Listen, I went back and I watched a little bit yesterday morning just because I was wondering how it went, and I think I still feel like I won the food draft.
You
I'm just gonna
didn't.
be honest with you.
You didn't. Eric, go back, watch it, and watch how I completely destroy Ravi in the food draft that we did. Our
I
Thanksgiving
might
food
put a
draft.
I might put a Twitter poll out. I might put a Twitter poll out with the respective plates
Okay, do that.
and see where we're at, and then
I need to
we'll go
include
from
a
there.
picture of my rice because had
Yeah,
some yesterday and it was delicious as
you'll
usual.
also have to text me how to spell that because you lost me after arrows.
Arroz con gandules.
Is it 2 R's or 1?
Yes, 2 R's.
Arroz,
Arroz. Yeah.
and then cone, CON. What's the last
Yep.
word?
Gandules.
Gandules?
GAN. Yeah. GANDULES.
Oh, so just how it sounds.
Yeah.
Okay. What does gandules mean in Spanish?
They're like pigeon peas, the beans.
I know what the food is, but like, what is the actual?
That's what
Is
it
that
means.
okay? Because it
Yeah.
sounds like gondola, like the little boats in
Yeah.
Italy.
It is not. We are not putting little boats in our rice.
I didn't know if the pigeon peas looked like little boats,
No,
and
they
so
just
they're
look like
like
they're just little
okay,
black peas.
okay. Well,
They're delicious.
what are you gonna do? Did you watch a lot of football yesterday?
No, I did not. There was only like 4 kids, so we had to put the TV to something that they wanted so that they would leave us alone.
Boo.
We did send them outside for a bit and put some football on, watched a little bit of the Chiefs game, and then came home and watched the Ravens Bengals game. I missed most of the Lions game. I was pissed because I have Amon-Ra in fantasy and he went out right away.
And
But
also,
that
that
was
was the best game of the day. I mean,
yeah, I went
although
back and saw some
Cowboys Chiefs was
highlights.
good. Cowboys Chiefs. Was good.
Cowboys Chiefs had some real big highlights.
Yeah.
I was excited for Ravens Bengals because when I turned it on, it was still close. And then
Yeah.
the Bengals kind of started pulling away. And I was getting pissed with the Ravens because I'm like, what? Your offense just doesn't look good. Like it looks anemic. It looks
You
like you don't know how to move the ball. Lamar looks like he doesn't want to run at all. And for whatever reason, you have one of the best running backs in the National Football League, and you
Mhm.
keep running with your second and third string. I was very confused.
Yeah, I just was not struck by, but like it was just a nice reminder of like, oh yeah, Joe Burrow's really good at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's really good at
Yeah.
this.
Like the
And
Bengals are probably potentially going to win the AFC North.
I don't know if they can catch up. I'm not. It's close. I can't
They have
remember.
to win out, and you're going to need the Steelers and Ravens
You're gonna
to
need a little
lose. I
help.
think like 2. They're going to have to lose 2 more, and the
Yeah, you
Bengals
need a
have to
little
not
help.
lose.
So yeah, so there's
Which is
but
completely possible if Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play for the Steelers, and if the Ravens are going to continue to play the way that they did last night.
yeah, so a Funky Giblet says, has Lamar lost step or is he trying to pass first and it's making him move slower? I don't know the answer, but it is something, Funky
Mhm.
Giblet. Like I think I said this to DB early in the season, and people were like, hey, you need to pump your brakes a little bit here. He
Hmm.
doesn't look like his escapability is quite as good as it was even just last year.
He doesn't
It
look comfortable.
it could be, as Funky Giblet suggests here, it could be that he's trying to stay in the pocket longer
Mhm.
and keep his options open through the passing game longer, and that's resulting in him like trying to escape later, and therefore it's less successful. Um, I don't know. It used to look like you could be basically like a millisecond away from sacking him and he would still find a way to get out of it. That
Mhm.
no longer seems to be the case. It seems like he needs a little bit more time to kind of improvise his way out of dicey situations. So I would tend to agree. And I mean, it makes sense. We're what? We're 10 years in, 9 years in
Are we
to Lamar
really?
Jackson. He won like the 2016 Heisman, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're 9 years into this thing, so it would make sense for a player of his style to have lost a step by this point. It kinda reminds me of, I know this is, always been the low-hanging fruit, comparison with the 2, but it reminds me of, like, Vic pre-prison and Vic post prison, which there was an very obvious reason for why Vic looked different when he came back. But Vic, before he went to jail, prison, whatever, there was no tackling him. Like, he was just going to slip through your fingers. And then once he came back, it's like, oh, still very fast, still probably the most athletic quarterback in the league, but you have a shot now.
Yeah, like now you have a chance. You still have to do it.
Yes. There is an opportunity there at least.
And he seemed like he was more comfortable in the pocket post.
Yeah, I mean, that's an Andy Reid thing for sure.
Yeah, which also helps. But
100%.
It's Lamar Jackson. It's strange because it looks like he's trying to stay in he's trying to become more of a pocket passer for whatever reason. Like he's always been a pretty good passer. He's always been a solid passer. I think he's been a really good one, but some people would disagree. But now it just seems like he doesn't want to run because you see him in those situations, kind of like what you mentioned, where the pocket's breaking down. He would just not tuck it and run, but tuck it and get out of the pocket and then find somebody while he's on the run to throw it to, or just take off. Now he's staying in the pocket. He's stepping up, which is great, but it's just not working out with the wide receivers that he currently has. And I understand that Mark Andrews is one of the better, receiving tight ends in the league, but he's also a step slower. He's coming back from a pretty big injury. 2 years ago or last year?
Last year.
Yeah. So that's not working out for him. And then he seems to be sailing a lot of balls, which I couldn't break that down for you, but it just seems like a lot of overthrows, whether that's him putting a little too much mustard on it or the receivers running in wrong routes, whatever it is. A lot of them just seem to be going over the heads and into open space.
Yeah, and we'll speaking of overthrows, we'll talk about kind of Nebraska, TJ Lateef a little bit later here today. We'll get into that. We'll probably start the preview with MRI at 9:30 and then roll right into it through the end of the show there. Headley says, I'm not as fast as I used to be either, but I'm 37 now. Funky just turned 50 a few weeks ago. Happy 50th birthday, Funky.
Hey.
Too much gravy. Rico, 'tis the season.
Hey.
Big gravy guy over here, Rico. No, I would agree on Lamar. And maybe he's a little banged up. Maybe that's all it is. It might just be he got dinged up at some point over the year, and so he's just looking a little different there. But it is something to keep an eye on because it does seem like he's less dynamic than he was even last year. So I do think that pretty dramatically influences the way Baltimore is going to look. I did get to catch some hoops yesterday as well. Creighton got off the schneid in Vegas, which was good over their old coach Dana Altman. Don't worry,
long enough.
We're not gonna kill you with Creighton talk this morning, but there's been some
finally won. There's your Creighton talk.
Yeah, there's been some really good college basketball though in general. That Michigan State UNC game was good.
Duke and Arkansas was solid.
Duke and Arkansas was good. I'll be honest, I sort of prefer Thanksgiving as a college basketball holiday as opposed to a football holiday. There's a lot of really good college basketball during Thanksgiving.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of college basketball. So if you want to talk basketball holidays, for me, it's Christmas.
Okay,
even though the NFL is trying to co-opt Christmas, and based on the numbers, they did, but I don't care. Christmas is NBA.
Old Dave says a 21-year-old told me last week that I was the most athletic 40-year-old that he's ever seen. I needed that, TBH. Weirdly, I get that, old Dave. I was playing tennis I worked in with some juniors the other day. And I beat this kid pretty solid, 5-0. I was happy with it. We didn't have time to get to a sixth game, but he told one of the coaches, he goes, "Yeah, I played some old dude the other day. He was pretty good." And I was like, I mean, hurts on the old dude, but I'll take the pretty good.
I'll allow it.
I will take the pretty good.
There was a compliment after the insult, but I'm okay.
Listen, I'm sure this kid was probably, I think he's going into his freshman year, so he's 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there. So I'm sure to him, I look ancient. which is fine.
It's the gray in the beard.
It is the gray in the beard.
It looks good though.
I see. That's the thing is, it doesn't bother me at all. Like I'm not gonna be one of those dye my hair guys. That's just
No, as
not.
soon as I start graying, I hope it all goes gray. Like
I
that's
also
what I'm like. Once it goes gray, I want it all gray immediately,
You want to go full? You trying to go a full Don King on him there? Just get the
right away. No, yeah, right away. No salt and pepper, just straight salt,
uh, just all salt,
all salt.
salty Rico.
Exactly.
No,
That's just me every day.
yeah, I've told my Funky Jim says I'm a terror on the pickleball court. I play a little pickleball, mostly tennis now, Funky, but I'll still play some pickleball with people every once in a while. We'll have
I've
to.
never played pickleball. I feel like I'd be pretty decent at it.
It's pretty fun. It's easier to get into than tennis. It's like easier to reach a level of functionality
Okay.
because like it's tennis is pretty challenging to get even like functional at playing. So
Oh,
where you can
I
like
know.
play a match and it's not just hitting into the net over and over and over again.
Hmm.
Um, but but pickleball is much easier to get to like a functional level at. So I appreciate pickleball for that. And it's fun. I like playing with my friends quite a bit still.
I
I'm not one
tried
of those.
tennis in high school with a
Yeah.
friend of mine who was all state.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I could do this. He goes, no, you can't. I was like, yeah, I can. I was, high school, I'm like the most athletic I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I'm skying it over the fences. I'm hitting it into the net. Like it's out of bounds every time. I can't get it inbounds, and he's just crushing me. And I'm like, this is impossible. And I think you're a wizard.
Yeah, it's one of the sports. It's kind of like golf where you can't just like athlete your way into being okay at it.
Hmm. I was like, I'm super good at this. I was not. Turns
Asian
out
Wyatt
not super
says
good.
Asian Wyatt says tough hang significantly pushed my hair toward the Zen master look.
Yeah.
I told my wife like it's the gray doesn't bother me. If I start to get to a point where like I've always had like a very deep hairline, if I start
Hmm.
to get to the point where the hair starts to go, I'm just shaving it. Like I'm not going to fight it.
Are you
Like
scared that you might have a weird shaped head?
no, I used to shave my head all the time. I'm aware
Oh,
of what
okay.
my head shape is. In
That's
college,
my only fear.
yeah, I buzzed my head a lot. I buzzed my head a lot when I was like in college, so I'm not worried about it. I have a
Okay.
pretty good
That's my
sense of
only
what
fear if my hair starts to go is that I have a weird shaped head.
a lot of hats at that point, I guess,
Yeah. Big hat
Well,
guy at that point.
SkyMex says, I'm pushing 60 and have been destroying my body in EMS for years. The most athletic I can get now is bocce. I've never played bocce. I don't even totally know what it is.
I can't
I've
even pretend to try to explain it.
I've never
I'm
I
not
might
even
have
gonna
to
try.
I might have to Google something. I've never been able to I've never played bocce, so might have to Google it at some point, see what we got going on here. At least I want Ravi to get a late 90s bowl cut. So,
Yes.
the funny thing, Headley, is that was a very popular haircut when I was in elementary school. And
Did you have it?
no, I desperately wanted my mom to let me get one. And she's like, no, I don't like those. I think they look stupid. And I'm like, oh,
She saved you, honestly.
she probably did. Like the pictures would be rough, but all
I
of my
kind of
friends,
can't do a bowl cut.
yeah, your hair consistency is a little bit different. It's a little bit. Be
Just
tough
a
to
little
do.
bit.
Be
No
tough to
bowl
do a
cut.
bowl cut. David DJ says I'm 65 and pulled a muscle playing Uno.
Hey, Uno gets intense, all right?
Listen, man, I've the amount of the SkyMax says bocce's like a fusion of horseshoes and curling on grass. Okay,
I'm
all
down.
right, we'll figure it out. Let's do it. Um, yeah, I Headley had a lovely bowl cut. Bowl cut.
Pixar didn't
I
happen.
I also thought it was when I was a kid bull cut, like a Chicago bull.
Oh, a bowl cut, not a bowl cut.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So basically, it's called because you like put a ball on the head and just like
Yeah,
shave
and then you
around it. And
just
that's
go around it. Yeah.
I thought it was like I was a dumb kid. I'm a dumb adult too, but
Yeah.
I thought it was like if a bull like ran past you, it'd like shave off with its horns the sides of your head. That is not what it is. That's not what it is at all. So yeah, that's
Okay.
what I
I got
that's
nothing for you.
that's what I thought when I was a kid.
I can't. I mean, I can't. I can't say that anything too much. Like I've had some dumb thoughts as well about stuff like
Thank
that.
you,
So.
Dank. Dank Coyote thought the same thing. Thank you.
I don't think that's the person you want on your side.
Oh, I love Dank. He's one of my favorites in the chat here.
I only figured that out like 3 years ago. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, that's my guy.
Are you sure about that, Ravi?
Yeah, that's my guy. We're hanging with him. We're hanging with Dank.
Okay.
Well, listen, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Rico, do we have commercials today?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a quick break here before we talk to our talk to our guy MRI and get a little bit we're gonna serious up, talk a little football, talk a little pregame here for Nebraska, Iowa. It's Iowa hate day, hate week. For me, it's always Iowa hate, but it's more concentrated, more focused today. But we're going to talk to our guy MRI here in just a couple minutes. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's a special edition of Hurrdat Sports Live.
It's 0 days at Edwards Nissan. 0 down, 0 to its signing, and 0 payments until 2026. The Black Friday sales event is on. Give thanks, get driving. Drive a 2025 Nissan Sentra S starting at $199 a month for 36 months with 0 down and no payments until 2026. Over 39 Sentras ready to roll. Or sign and drive the 2026 Nissan Rogue SV all-wheel drive for $299 a month. 0 down and no payments until 2026. These 0-day offers end soon. Hurry to Edwards Nissan. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Nissan.
Nebraska leads the nation in All-Americans in volleyball of all time. Can you tell me what number that is?
I'm going to go with 60.
60? You want a hint?
That's a pure guess. 107.
Is it in the 20s?
It's in the triple digits.
Oh.
Huh?
Who was our All-American from last year's team that graduated? Extra hint.
Lexi Rodriguez.
It was Lexi Rodriguez. Good job. You got that one. Good job.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here just at our houses, and we are joined now by Michael Rose-Ivey, MRI. What's going on, man?
What's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're doing pretty good. We appreciate you joining us. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. It was great, man. Got to see, went over to my dad's house. He made a gauntlet of food. My favorite being seafood stuffing. I don't know if you guys ever had that, but seafood stuffing was top of my list to get on the way out. Then went to go see my uncle and came back home. So it was a good day, good opportunity to see family, be thankful, obviously, and all those things. So how about you guys? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I gotta say, I'm intrigued by the seafood stuffing. What are we working with there?
I think it's shrimp, a little bit of lobster, maybe some crawfish. I had to ask them the full recipe, but just your basic stuff and just with some seafood in there. So it was perfect.
I can get on board with that. I can.
Yeah,
Rico is a much more traditional Thanksgiving food person than I am. Rico,
yeah. I kind of heard. I heard the take a little bit earlier. I get it. He wants Thanksgiving every once a month at least.
Rico, are you on mute? I can't hear you, bud.
I'll take your tacos and nachos up there. I don't know what you're doing, man. That seafood stuffing sounds. I'm not a big stuffing guy, but that seafood stuffing sounds pretty good.
I'm not either. I'm not a big stuffing guy either. Like it's wasted calories for me on Thanksgiving, But you throw some seafood in there, then we talking something different.
All of a sudden, you're talking MRI's language.
right, right. Something I can get down with.
Well, MRI, we've got a big one today. Obviously, Nebraska and Iowa. Before we get into that, I kind of want to rewind a little bit and look back at that Penn State game. Obviously, didn't go the way Nebraska wanted it to, but as you're watching that unfold and you're kind of seeing how the success that Penn State's having and how they're having success against Nebraska, what do you chalk that up to? Did you look at it as like, hey, this is a scheme issue, this is a talent issue, is it execution? Like, where did you see the disconnect between Nebraska and what it looked like against Penn State?
All of the above. I think it was a mixture of all of it. I think, and you never go into a game thinking you're going to lose. And even I'm looking at the game and, there's a chance if you do this, you start to put, too many ifs on that. It's like, well, I don't know if we can actually, do what I'm saying we can, or I believe we can. Maybe from a fan perspective, or just being optimistic and just want to see those guys go out there and just, hey, the light flips, right? The switch flips on for them, and it just happens just to be the game that they do it. But the recipe was there. I mean, Penn State's been able to run the ball. Maybe haven't had the season they wanted, obviously, but they've been able to run the ball. Their running backs were fairly dynamic as I thought they would be in the run game and pass game. I thought, obviously, and I think we all come away from that, the passing game and giving up the yards we did there was kind of maybe a little bit more of a shocker, and I think maybe put more of a damper on that game than maybe what we expected. I mean, people come into the season, right, where everyone's chalking up Penn State as a loss, right? And, we probably talk more about that as we go, but just the expectations of what we're getting, the reality is I think we're getting the team that we just about expected, and I think you have to be able to ride that roller coaster, right, and be okay with being where you're expected to be, right, and you're still on track to make the progression as a program, especially if you can go out and win. I think a Iowa game is going to be it's a rivalry game, so it's going to be a back and forth, slugfest type of games. You can take care of the ball and win on special teams, make some stops on defense, but where they are this season and what happened with Penn State, I think it was something that I think during the offseason we expected, but obviously what happened with Penn State during the season, I think people thought that was a gimme game, 2 weeks ago. And that's again, the up and down of being a fan, of Nebraska, kind of the, 2 weeks out, we can beat them, but the week of we're, petrified and all this stuff. It's just that. So I think it was a little bit of everything. Schematically, there's probably more talk to that. I'm just very interested to see how Butler transitions the defense from the spring from this year. Not to like simulate through the season and get through it, but I don't think this is his structure, and I think there has to be some conversations about how does he go about getting more into what he likes to do, and that's going to be a conversation with the head man, and I think maybe there's a little bit of pull and tug from there that it's saying, hey, I want us to look like this and be like this and identify as this. And I think they're unless you start recruiting differently, right? And there's, again, don't want to put the carriage for the horse. We got a long show, but just a lot of everything from Penn State, and I think just program wise too, resulted in what we saw last week.
Now that whole performance, and we talked about this, and Ravi and Damon talked about this last week. The performance in the run defense, is that more of an indictment on the defensive line or the linebackers needing to fill the holes behind the defensive linemen?
I say at this point, it's a little bit of both, and just looking at as much film as I've looked at. Now, I'm not in the meeting, so I don't know the for short answer how they're supposed to fit it. But I just see a lot of either confusion or miscommunication of how the first level and the second level are supposed to play off of each other. I keep chalking it up to like, okay, inexperienced, backers playing behind, moving gaps, but I'd have to go back and simplify it's football at a certain point, right? And how are we teaching them to get to those fits? How are we teaching the D linemen to occupy and maintain gaps? And that's where, like I said, I keep going back to just the structure of what they're trying to do on the back end and front end. Are they mixing too many philosophies, right? With having that third safety and being a 3-3-5 team, but also playing 4 down, right? And getting to that more often than you are in your 3-man tight. So I think at some point you got to major in something, right? I think they're minoring in a lot of things defensively, and I'm interested to see what Butler's allowed to major in going into the spring, especially with new bodies and however they figure out this portal and all that type of stuff. But I think there's just there might be a disconnect on what the philosophies are, how we want to attack in the run fits from the first and second level, at least just from what I've seen as looking at it from a coach's standpoint, like how if I was to coach this or how I was to try to, give a solution to the problem. That's more so what I see. And that's not indictment on anybody, but that's just what the results have been for their run defense. And so you hope to, again, against an Iowa team that runs the heck out of the ball, one of the best offensive line coaches, developers in probably college football history, Kirk Ferentz. You hope that they have a plan, a game plan to be able to attack their run game and slow them down just a bit, make this more of a game in the quarterback hands.
MRI, you mentioned the kind of dynamic nature of the Penn State running backs. Obviously, Moulton's a nice back for Iowa, but he's not either of those guys, right?
Correct.
How much? Obviously, the Penn State and Iowa offensive lines both very good. Iowa's offensive line is going to be very good today. How much difference does it make, though, to have like Katron Allen made some things happen with that offensive line that I don't know that Moulton's capable of? Like, how much of a difference does that make as you're looking at Nebraska's run defense and their ability to actually slow Iowa down a little bit? Or is it more, hey, we don't think Gronowski can make some of the throws that Gronkmeyer did?
I would caution myself to say that. The second part, with comparing Gronkowski and the quarterback from Penn State, I think when and the only reason it's not a talent thing, I think no disrespect to anybody, I think they're just about equally talented, even with the experience that Gronkowski has. But I think with what Nebraska is forced to do to stop the run game, that always ends up hurting them in the pass game because now it opens up those seams behind the linebacker. And especially with Iowa, they're going to use their tight ends, right? They're going to use them on the boots in the flat. They're going to use them on the over routes over the top of linebackers off of the zone action and things like that. So I think that's where you look at these games that, we get into, right? We got to stop the run. We have to stop the run. Well, they still hit us on the run, but then the quarterback that we expected to stop, for 50% completion is down at 65, and it's all, 8 of 12, 10 of 13, those type of stats, but he's managing the game like he should. So I think with how Allen runs at Penn State, obviously, I think it's a difference in allowing your Jimmies and Joes to do the work, and more so how I think Ferentz and Iowa sets up the run game. There are definitely more chess with it, right? They are almost in their zone scheme is like running against a wing T offense, right? When they have if-thens, right? So they run a play, we run inside dive and a wing T, right? And the DN crashes, they have a play right now to go to now counter that, right? And that's kind of how their run scheme is set up, right? With their inside zone, mid zone, outside zone. You're going to see every form of it. So the thing I worry about with a lighter front, right, is now being on the move, right? And now whether you're doing movement or not, stunts or not, right, on those wide zones, those things like that. You got a lighter front on the move, and now those cutbacks give you problems, right? And that's where those linebackers and third level guys have to know how to fit off of moving fronts, moving linemen, and just being able to mirror the back. I mean, a lot of football talk there, but just being able to mirror the back and fill in the flow of the O-line, but not just committing straight to a gap. And I think that's a philosophical thing for some defenses, right? We want to be one gap and attack things, but just I think it better suits you to cover all areas in the run game and the run fit if you're able to stack those backers over those D linemen and be able to play off of them instead of telling them, hey, you have this gap, you have to fit here, and then you're wondering why it's not fitting on Saturday or Friday in this instance like it was fitting on Tuesday. So I think that it just gives you a little bit room for error at that second level, but they got to be able to fit. That's going to be the big thing off of those guys playing up front.
MRI, I understand that they're completely different teams with completely different structures, but for the most part, their offenses fit the same. Iowa and UCLA. How much of the game plan against the Bruins can Nebraska take over defensively to slow down Gronowski's running attack?
Yeah, that's a good point there. I think he's not as dynamic, obviously, as Nico is, but I think he does provide some spark for him, and just enough to where if you're too heavy on the backs and you're too heavy focused on inside run gaps, that they can use them on the outside. They even done some more like true quarterback design, like counters and things like that, power reads and things, and made it 11-on-11 football, right? So I think there's some things you can take. I don't necessarily know if the spy on third down is going to be big for them. It could be, but maybe they're able to, press gaps on the inside or on the outside and force them to stay in the pocket and be able to have good rush lane integrity. But I think there are some things you can take from that game plan. I think more than anything, how they line up to the different formations is going to be important. Again, this is more structurally and philosophical, I guess, on how you line up. But I think in some instances when they're getting, I say 3 or 4 man services, right? Meaning obviously on each side of the offense or the center, you have 2 offensive linemen, so right? It's all automatically a 2-man surface. You had a tight end and maybe a wing back, and now you have a 3 to 4 man surface, right? And I think when you start to do that, you have to make a choice as a defense, right? Are we going to overload that side, right? Or are we going to try to take away, the strength of the formation with movement going to it and force the ball back to the weak side, right? And I think with the usage of Iowa's tight ends and what they do, I think it'll be important for Nebraska to get their alignment in front set to those tight ends and take away those strong side run games that they like to do with Gronkowski and just kind of power him in there and using it more so his I wouldn't say strength, but just his ability to kind of be a more physical runner and make guys miss tackles in the hole when going against them. So I think there's some things they can take with it, but also I think it's from what we saw with Nico and what he did at UCLA, I think there's some things you have to change up, right? And how you do that. Are you sending more run pressures? Obviously, it's going to be the weather's got to play into it, right? That has to factor into your defensive game plan. Do we have the wind? Do we not have the wind? And kind of how you're being aggressive throughout the quarters. I think that's a game within the game itself is how they're managing the wind, how that's going with your game plan as far as offense and defensively for Nebraska, as far as are we going to be aggressive or do we need to be more conservative so we're playing more field position? So that'll be interesting to see as well.
Michael, when you're looking at Iowa's defense and what they do well, where do you see opportunities for Nebraska to take advantage of them offensively?
It's tough, man. I think Iowa is one of the more consistent units you're going to see year in, year out. They don't do much different. I mean, Dana said it. I mean, it's the same cover 2, cover 4, 4-3 over front that he saw when he was, just starting to be a head coach, So I think the opportunities are you're hoping that you can get the ball in space with your athletes. The thing about Iowa, I mean, they hardly ever, go into nickel packages. Like they like to play their 3 linebackers even against 11 personnel. So force them to have to change up their philosophy, right? How they like to attack offenses and make them put a nickel in there. And then you can get to more run game. I think Emmett against the linebackers in the passing game could be a spot for them to take advantage of. I think that should be a focal point for Nebraska. You got to add Latif into the run game. Definitely with the weather the way it is, you would expect to see, again, a little uptick in design quarterback runs. And just getting options to where, again, Emmett and Latif are both one of the guys that could take the ball and make a play for Nebraska. Getting the ball downfield again, wind being a factor, cold weather. We've seen what these type of games could be. 10-13, 10-17, close type of ball games with how the weather is. So how they manage, I think, again, the weather, the time management from Rule, are things going to be important in how they manage field position. And we've had some, go for it situations where I don't know if we necessarily should have, or maybe we're a little bit too aggressive. But just understanding those opportunities and when to take advantage of those are going to be important. But adding Latif into the run game is going to be important. Emmett versus those linebackers is going to be crucial in the passing game. But when it's time to complete passes downfield, can't be in too many third and longs, but when it's time to complete those passes, we got to be at least 40 to 45% on third and sixes, third and eights, that type of range. Because Iowa's defensive front, they're going to be tough. I don't know if running the ball is going to be as efficient as we've seen from Nebraska. As Iowa plays the run very well. So we'll see. But I definitely think there's some things they can take advantage of, and they're going to have to be patient with those things, with how the weather is going to play out in the game.
Michael, you think you kind of touched on it there a little bit with the kind of aggressiveness and decision making with the range in which these games have typically been played, just from a point standpoint. Is this for you kind of a, hey, take the points game, like whenever you get the opportunity?
Yeah. I think it's take the points and take the field position, when you get a chance. When you get to those, those 40 to 45, 35-yard range where it's like, okay, we could try the field goal, or we could try to go for it, or we can, hey, let's take the 5-yard penalty and let's pin them back. I think those are things you have to think about, especially if Iowa offensive line gets to leaning right on your defensive front, and you get to that situation. But I think, like you said, I agree. I think the game management is going to be very important. And something that Rule has been criticized on. I think he's trying to continue to get better with that and try to figure that out. But it's going to be a game that's definitely going to show. We talk, the word progress. That's a very important word for the Husker fan base, is progress. So we want to see progress in the game management, today. And it's going to be one of those games that's going to, be an eyesore for you on your, going into the bowl prep and all those things, if there's some lack of it in this game versus Iowa, because it's going to be much needed.
You talk about progress and field position. I said earlier that this game is going to be a really big Mike Eckler game. Like, this is a special teams game, and this will be a chance to see just how far Mike Eckler's taken this Nebraska special teams, especially against this Iowa team who has just been lights out for years on special teams. Do you agree?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. He's got to, if he can find a way to impact this game, whether it be, kickoff return, punt block, something like that. He's got to be closing in on that Broyles Award. And I think his track record from Tennessee, what he did at Tennessee and how he turned their special teams unit around, and then just to come to Nebraska in 1 year and have the impact he does. Eckler, he was a guy, he's the one that offered me the scholarship at Nebraska when he was a linebackers coach there. And man, was a guy I really wish I got a chance to play for. And from everybody I know that that's up there, that obviously in a close relation with him and see him on day-to-day basis. Sorry. Just says, he is who he is, and you can't fake that energy. You can't fake that type of passion for the game and just passion for young men, and seeing, kind of the underdogs do well. You guys know him. He was a walk-on, kickoff return type of, crazy bat out of hell guy at K-State, just one of those guys, kind of like the program type, like Latimer type guys, just love, just being a part of a group and seeing guys excel and just wanting to be the guy that makes the difference. And I'm glad he's back in Nebraska. He's making tremendous impact already on the team, and it's going to be continued throughout the rest of this year and, his tenure here. So it's definitely a Mike Eckler game, and I hope that, a big play happens and, he's able to hopefully get recognized on a national level as being, a top assistant, as if he is not already is, but, it'd be a cool reward for him and all the work he's done over the years.
There's been a lot of talk this week amongst the fan base kind of about how it will feel going into the offseason and into bowl season if Nebraska wins this game versus loses it. As a player, I know, talking to you, talking to DB, talking to Kenny, a lot of times you guys are able to remove yourself kind of from the emotion of it better than fans are sometimes. Is there anything from this game for you as just a single game that will change how you feel about the season, the progress of the program, and kind of the direction they're headed in general? Or is that too much for you to put on one game?
I think if they lose, it doesn't change anything for me. And I think that's kind of different with me and maybe, so just some other people that spend their time, with Nebraska. If they win, I, I- it, I think I'm excited. Obviously, there's a couple things, this rivalry, being able to beat Iowa. I think we haven't won in 9 out of last 10 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to get that kind of monkey off the back, that's a big selling point for the program. When they get, back on the recruiting trail, especially, that we talk about the bowl prep, kind of getting guys extra practices. But what you do at the end of the season, that's what you're able to sell, right? When you go on the road in those 2 to 3 weeks before you actually get going with the bowl game. So that's important to go into that time of the year, that time of the calendar with that momentum. But if they lose, for me, that doesn't change my perspective on the season. I think there's been a lot of progress. I think where they are, obviously, whether it be this game or the bowl game, like for them to get to 8 wins. And if they got to 9, that'd be awesome. There'd be a lot of momentum going into it. But if they lost this game, wouldn't be the end of the world to me. So long as obviously I think this is a game that should be within a fighting chance, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I hate to, be third quarter and I'm like, I'm kind of off of this, right? Or kind of be disassociated with the game because of what the score is and what the result is currently. So I think that's really the only thing I think that would change in my mind. But and I can't say change my mind. I think that would just give me a sour taste going into my weekend. But again, I think that's the thing, like you said, to be able to disassociate it because when you kind of go through it and kind of feel that pressure and that energy of losing those type of games and you kind of have to anyway, right? Because you got a lot of people coming at you and things like that. So it's just I guess a learned trait by players that kind of carry over after their career. But I've gotten to the point too where it's like I'm never gonna tell someone how to fan or be mad at a fan, but I just always want people to realize that the players are just as upset as anybody. The coaches are too. Yes, everybody's getting NIL money and coaches get paid a lot of money to coach, but this is a passion of theirs, and a lot of people put a lot of time away from their family and sacrifice to try to, reach a goal that only, currently 12 teams can get into a playoff and only one team can win a national championship. So I just think, there's a human element to it that I think that, I think we all can relate to. If we had a camera and interviews at someone's job at UPS or at their insurance job, like, hey man, you didn't get that sale at 12 o'clock. How you feeling going into your afternoon, right? It's just I think it's just funny how life works, and I think sports is a great place for us to kind of push our own opinions and our own objectives. But at the end of the day, there's a human element to these guys. I'm looking at the picture right now. They just posted one last time. These guys playing the last game in Memorial Stadium. I still remember that kind of moment and that feeling. And I just hope these boys go play hard and keep support these guys no matter what. We say cheers the winners go by. In our day by day speech, then let's live it. That's kind of what I go by at least.
MRI, I'll get you out of here on this. You mentioned last time a lot of these guys will be playing at Memorial Stadium. Kind of just take me through the emotions of that. Obviously, you've been through a senior day here at Nebraska. What like how much different does it feel than a typical day, and how, I guess, either helpful or challenging is it to manage those emotions?
Get out of here. The biggest thing is again channeling those emotions. It was it was a lot. I think for us in our senior class, we had the Sam Foltz tribute and his family kind of going through that pregame, kind of the totality of our whole journey. For me, I was the last people realize I was the last defensive member from my class that was in my senior year. So just for me, like understanding that whole journey, obviously what happened with the kneeling in 2016, kind of that impact, just a lot. It was emotional. I mean, it was super emotional. I mean, I was crying pregame in the locker room, cried on the way out, cried on the sideline on kickoff, and went out there and played. I mean, it was pretty emotional, man. I think it's just a blessing to go through that journey. And I look back at like so many of my moments now in life to where a lot of I just pulled back for so many of those memories, good, bad, ugly. Things that you wish you could do better and change. But at the end of the day, it makes you who you are. And if you're able to survive those type of things and go through those things and take accountability and just look to be a better person. I mean, it's just a great experience. And I hope more young people, still continue to look at college as an option, whether you're playing football or not. Just getting around those people and a different social network and networking that goes on, and you just never know who you might meet. And a lot of people that I met in Nebraska are still some of my people I talk to every day on a day-to-day basis. So happy for these guys, these seniors. Hope they can go out on the right way and beat Iowa, get that monkey off their back, and go into bowl prep with some momentum and some confidence, and hopefully can play for a non-win season.
Now, MRI, I know Ravi said he was going to get you up, but I have to ask this. Your Twitter name is Coach Rose-Ivey. And with all these openings around the country, can you confirm or deny that you're going to be at Penn State or Florida? Or can we just get that off the table? I've been hearing rumors.
Well, I talked to my agents, Jimmy Sexton, and he said we got some things in the work. He advised me not to wear any Nebraska gear during this interview to keep things neutral. But I figured with nothing on the table yet, I figure I can still keep my fandom. So
it makes sense. It makes sense.
Man, look, I'll take an equipment job for $200K. I'll be Jay Terry. And shout out to Jay Terry, man. I saw he had his 300 game his last game with Nebraska. Really good guy, real cool dude. Always been an upstanding man, and got us whatever we needed. Took care of it. So shout out to him.
Well, I appreciate you riding for the brand, even as your agent works deals for you there, MRI. We appreciate.
I'll just let you know always. I'm a pretty good special teams coach. Just
Hey, look, we'll bring them on. Hey, one thing too. I see this holds the freshman tackle record. Rex Guthrie is I think about 8 to 10 tackles away. So ready to see that. And that'd be good. That'd be good. That'd be cool. That'd be cool, man. So I'm interested to see him. See if he has a game. I mean, it's up for. I mean, they're running the ball, so I mean, he's gonna get at least 6 or 7. So, I'm excited to see him play some ball today. See if he can get that.
Rico just doesn't want to have to change the graphic. That's all.
Yeah, I don't want to. It's a lot of work. I'll have to find something else.
Just put an asterisk right there. It's all right.
Yeah, I'll change the O to an E. Held for the freshman tackle.
There you go. Held. But
Michael,
appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for all the time you've given us this year. I'm sure we'll keep talking throughout bowl season and off season as well. But I just hope we've had a great Thanksgiving break, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, appreciate you guys, man. Go Big Red. Let's get a win today.
There we go. That is our guy, MRI, former Husker, currently holds the freshman tackle record. Don't know if that'll change today or not, but appreciate his time as always. Good stuff there from MRI. Rico, let's take a quick break here. We'll come back and start getting into our thoughts on the game today, Nebraska and Iowa. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
The Black Friday sales event is on at Edwards Kia. Give thanks and get driving. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $299 a month with 0 down. That's 0 down starting at $299 a month for the 2026 Kia Sportage. Bold style and tech-savvy comfort. Or upgrade to the 2025 Kia Telluride LX 4-wheel drive. Lease starting at $379 a month with just $999 down. Space, safety, and unmistakable style. Don't wait. These Black Friday savings end soon at Edwards Kia.
It ain't no different than what it was in 2001 when I was at Texas Tech and played these guys in the Alamo Bowl. I'm being serious. I mean, it's just, they've been there, 25 years or whatever it is, and it's been the same forever. I mean, for them to be able to sustain it like they have is something that's very unique and probably never going to be duplicated again. So same as it was last year. I got to go back. Obviously 25 years ago, there's going to be some things that are a little different, but same as it was last year. Just they're a plug and play team. I thought they had really good players last year, and the ones that they lost, they've replaced them with really good players this year. So, it ain't real tricky. They're just sound with everything that they do. And from a coaching perspective, you got to respect that.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Dingman's Collision Center. Anytime you've got an issue with your auto body repair needs, Dingman's has you covered. And hopefully, there's going to be some weather going on tonight. Hopefully, you don't run into any issues with the first winter weather event of the season. But we know some of us definitely will, and I'm sure that Dingman's will have you covered when that event hopefully doesn't occur to you, but if it occurs to you or a loved one, they'll get you covered. Go to dingmans.com to find out more, and they will get you taken care of with whatever you need for your auto body repair.
Ding.
Rico, yeah, ding.
Yes.
How are you feeling about the game today? I'm getting a lot of different kind of vibes about where people are at mentally.
Really? A lot of like people. You're telling me that Nebraska fans are all over the map when it comes to an Iowa game? That's crazy. That's wild. In a season that probably hasn't been what a lot of people have expected. People are scared, concerned, excited, happy, glad, all over the map for the final game of the season against a team that does everything that Nebraska struggles with.
Yeah, I think there's I think consternation could be a word that I would use. I think there is I think there's some I think there's some concern here. I also think there's some optimism. Um, I don't know. I think it's really interesting where people are at, and I think it has a lot to do with what we saw last week against um Penn State.
Pennsylvania State University.
I think it has less to do with them than it does, or I think it has more to do with them than it does Iowa, if I'm being honest. Like, I think it has more to do with Penn State and what we saw there, which is fair. I mean, you have to use the information at your disposal to um to kind of inform your decision and your feelings of how the game's going here. But I don't know. Like, I expect this to be a close game, kind of like they all are with Iowa, right? Like, that's sort of just what this game has turned into. It sounds like the weather's probably going to hold off in terms of precipitation until
Which
after
is
the
good.
game.
It's still gross and cold outside and pretty windy.
I gotta say, gross and cold and windy, I think, is the one that I think the wind is going to be the biggest factor here.
Iowa's in heaven right now.
I was going to say, which I don't probably doesn't affect. It probably affects Nebraska more than Iowa because Iowa is just Iowa. But I also think if Nebraska plays the way they want to, they're certainly not. They're certainly not throwing the ball as many times as they did last week, right? Like, we talked about that earlier in the week, where 37 pass attempts was just not a winning formula for Nebraska. I think they'd like to be probably about half that. I don't want to go as far as to say if they keep it under 20, I feel really good about how the game goes today, but I think that's the number they're shooting for. I think they're kind of shooting for like an 18 to 20.
Can I if Nebraska has less than 20 pass attempts, that means Iowa has held on to the ball for over half of the game.
You think so?
That's my thought. I think Nebraska is going to be around 25 attempts. And I really don't see over 4 deep shots. Like, they're going to take their chances every once in a while. They're going to just chuck it deep to see what happens. I mean, I think they really. Like, they have plans. They're not just going to be like, oh, well, let's just throw it. Like, no, they're not just going to do that. But you know what I'm trying to say.
I think
Nebraska.
I think they need to take some shots down the field.
They need to take some shots down the field, and I think there's going to be a lot more. If they can't run the ball between the tackles, you're going to see a lot of kind of what MRI said, a lot of throws to Emmett out of the backfield when he's matched up on a linebacker until you force them to bring somebody else in, and then you can start running the ball. But Nebraska is going to utilize the short passing game, the passing to the running back out of the backfield, as an extension of their running game, because you're going up against another team that loves to run the ball and is really good at stopping the opposing team from running the ball. So Emmett Johnson, unless he can break some more tackles like he had been throughout the season until that Penn State game, you're going to be in probably a world of hurt trying to run the ball. Unless you can utilize TJ Latif's legs as well, maybe a little read option play, getting the quarterback involved, forcing them to keep somebody else out of coverage. And then that's more than likely where you'll see a few more of those middle to deep shots in the passing game. But if Nebraska doesn't have over 20 passing attempts, to me, that's Iowa doing that patented death drive down the field with over 10 plays and like 6 minutes taken off the clock.
Yeah, so for me that would be indication of like total plays, not pass attempts, right? If Nebraska's total plays stay really low, I think that's what's happening. For pass attempts, if they keep it below 20, I think this game is actually probably played out how they wanted it to. I think if their total plays are really, really low, I think that's Iowa's just squeezed the life out of this game like a python, just like a boa constrictor, just like squeezing everything out of this game. I think pass attempts wise, the thing that I would like to see, because it seems like they've gone away from it a little bit in recent weeks, and maybe it's a feel thing or a timing thing with TJ Latif, but like I would just love to see them go to that Isaiah Hunter tunnel screen more than once a game. Like, why? Like why does that have to be a once a game thing? Like, I don't know, throw 4 of them. I don't know.
I think they've run the tunnel screen enough where they can get one of the other receivers out of there where they're pretending to block and just take off down. Like, they've run that tunnel screen enough that teams are now clocking it and saying, oh, like everybody's moving this way, they're throwing the screen to Isaiah. Like take Jacory or Dane instead of blocking, fake the block and take off down the field. That could be one of your deep shots because everybody's clocking that Isaiah Hunter tunnel screen. You've run it, once, twice a game, and it's been working really well for you. That teams are now cashing in and like, okay, we're gonna stop this. Like we know they're gonna run this once, maybe twice a game. We're going to stop this. We're not letting him get loose. We're not letting him, catch this 3 yards in front of the line of scrimmage and then taking off for 50+ yards.
Yeah, here's my thing though. Like if we're gonna talk about the short passing game as an extension of the running game, I think you have to treat your play calling of the short passing game like the running game as well then. And if a particular running play is working, you're going to run it more than twice.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're going to continue to run that play until they stop it. And then you go to a play action or a wrinkle off of that play. Like you're saying, like, that's what I mean. Like I would love to see whether it's Isaiah Hunter, we've seen it with Jacory Barney a couple times over the course of the year, but it's mostly been Isaiah because his ability to kind of break tackles and get loose there. But like make them stop that multiple times and then go to kind of what you're talking about, give a kind of a fake look and maybe take a deep shot off of it. I'd like to see them treat like if that's the route they're going to go. And like you said, with MRI and having Iowa kind of in their base defensive formation, you may get some matchups with linebackers on guys that you maybe wouldn't want to, whether it's Emmett Johnson or maybe this is maybe this is a Carter Nelson game. Carter Nelson's a bad matchup for linebackers.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, DBJR in the chat, the tight end room, it should come up.
Sure.
Luke Lindenmeyer has been way too quiet the past few weeks.
Yeah. And
there has not been enough Luke Lindenmeyer mentions in games for my liking. The way that he was tearing things up early in the season, and then it just seems like either he's just run blocking more, or you just haven't gone to the tight ends as much, I think is a disservice to what he is able to provide for you. And yeah, you're right. Carter Nelson being a tight end, but being wide receiver.
He's a bad matchup for every linebacker. He's a bad matchup for every linebacker. So, and we haven't seen a ton of him on the offensive side, although he did get into some plays against Penn State. I noticed that to me is, maybe that's an option.
Heinrich Harburg.
Yeah, maybe Heinrich Harburg. Listen, use him as a tight end. Stop putting him under center for short yardage. Like
have him throw a pass out of that short yardage situation.
If you're going to
you keep putting him in there, you keep having him try to sneak the ball, which he keeps getting too high and push back. You keep having him hand the ball off. Play action with him. The dude can run off of the play action. He can pass. He was a quarterback. He can pass.
He doesn't have a good feel for the short yardage stuff. Like he just doesn't. He doesn't have a good feel for kind of the sneak. Like he doesn't have a good feel for the leverage and where he needs to be on it. If you're going to put him out there, you've run this all year, run the pass off it now. Like if you're not, if you haven't been setting up the pass at some point, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right.
And for the chat, we're not saying to put him in at quarterback for the game.
No.
We're just saying if they decide to put him in short yardage, like run something different than the sneak that has never worked.
I would agree. Like if he doesn't take a snap at all, captain, I'm cool with that. Like
I don't need him at quarterback. But if you're going to put him at quarterback, the sneak doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Else. Yeah. But I agree with DBJR. Tight ends could be huge here. I think Emmett Johnson on linebackers could be huge here. To me, that kind of sets up for either like MRI was saying, the 11 personnel where you're going to have 3 wides, a tight end, and Emmett, and you'll have a couple of those guys end up on linebackers. Or if you're trying to give multiple looks, if they're trying to get multiple looks on running backs on linebackers, maybe some 2-back sets in there as well. Mekhi Nelson had a couple of nice plays against Penn State last week. I'm really high on Isaiah Mosey as well. So, give me some different looks here to take advantage of the things that Nebraska or that Iowa is trying to do defensively in a way that make them uncomfortable. Just try and make them a little uncomfortable. I like my chances with Emmett Johnson on a linebacker. I like my chances with Carter Nelson on a linebacker. I like my chances with Heinrich Harburg in space more than I do under center, right? I like my chances with Luke Lindemeyer to just bully people. I like my chances with Ja'Cory Barney in space or Isaiah Hunter in space. Like, I think they need to get back to some of the stuff they were doing earlier in the year where it's like, hey, we've got guys that are pretty good with the ball in their hands. Let's try and get the ball in their hands in different situations when we know what Iowa wants to do. We know they want to stay in their base personnel. We know that they're going to be super solid against the run game and super solid against probably traditional pass game when you've got a true freshman quarterback making just his third start, right? Yeah. Like
first home start,
which I'm excited to see how that looks. But like, just give me some different looks. I like Nebraska's skill position players quite a bit. Give them some opportunities to do things in a way that we haven't since kind of middle of the season. I don't think it's a Big Ten versus non-con thing. We saw this against some of the other Big Ten teams in the first half of the conference slate. I would love to see them get a little bit more back to that. I think you have to have TJ on the move a little bit, like whether it's rollout, whether it's design QB run game, like give TJ some options to use his athleticism, because again, if we like EJ on a linebacker, I'll kind of take my chances with TJ in space on a linebacker as well, right? Like give him an opportunity to make that linebacker have to commit to something and give yourself some options there. Like I do think there's a path forward to victory here. And I know I thought there was a path forward to victory last week. I still think there was a path forward to victory. Obviously, Nebraska didn't come anywhere close to that path forward to victory against Penn State. I understand that. But I think there is a much larger path to victory against Iowa than there was for Penn State. And I think there's a lot of things that we've already seen Nebraska do well this year that are included in that path.
And that's, Nebraska's offense against Iowa's defense. And on the other side of the ball for Nebraska's defense, I mean, it comes down to the same thing that's been going on all season, and that's just stopping the run. And in terms of a traditional running game, which Iowa loves, it hasn't been that this year. It's been a lot more quarterback run with Gronowski, who, look, I also want to get this out there. Gronowski, for as not great as he's been this season, people need to remember that he came from a D2 or D1, not D2, D1 AA program where all he did was win. All he did was win. So he came to Iowa. Obviously, they thought it was going to go a lot better than it has been, but he is a winner in those terms. Like, he wins games. So if it's a close game, it's going to be one of those things where I'm a little scared for what Gronowski might be able to do. But look, you got to stop the run, and in this game, it's mostly the quarterback run and keeping him in the pocket, not able to run all over the place.
So I want to ask you about something. There's kind of a rumor floating around out there that we might see some personnel changes, particularly on defense, in this game for Nebraska. And I don't want to speculate on who that might be or what that might look like, but I do want to ask you, if we do see personnel changes today, how do you feel about making changes this late in the season?
Don't feel great.
Does it frustrate you that if they felt like changes needed to be made, that they didn't make them sooner? Like, where are you at mentally? If this is, and again, this is just a rumor, I don't know.
Yeah. If this is true.
If this is true, that there's going to be some significant personnel changes on defense.
Yeah. There's two parts of this. Okay. There's two parts. One is why didn't you if you really think that these changes are necessary now, why didn't you do this earlier in the season? And that's the extremely frustrating part, where if you felt like there was a need to change things, and maybe it's somebody who was hurt and now they're able to get him in, whatever. I don't know the rumors, but maybe that's what it is. But even then, why didn't you decide to make any type of changes earlier in the season if you're going to make them in the final game of the regular season? And two, it could be that you realized how terribly you played against Penn State,
Mhm.
And now you're like, okay, let's do this so that doesn't happen again. Like it's not a whole season. Like we've been looking at this and now we're deciding to make a change. It's just a one game to the next game, which happens, change for Nebraska on the defensive side, where they're like, okay, this didn't work. It was a bad matchup. And in terms of what Penn State did well against us and what Iowa does, this would probably give us more of an advantage in this game. So it's kind of a two-parter. I don't know which one it is, but I'm just going to say that I'm going to be a little bit frustrated depending on what the change is, if it happens, and who gets put in.
Are you going to be more frustrated if it works?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm kind of a...
Like, I'm going to be happy. Like, if it works, Nebraska wins the game, I'm going to be like, hell yeah, we're going to have a Hail Varsity positive post game. But also, I'm going to be like, where the hell has this been?
So I'm very much, and I think this is where I differ from a lot of people who have ever coached, right? Is I try and project things a lot. That's just sort of a thing that I've always I've always sort of been, whether I don't know if it's from my, corporate life where I did like risk projections and things like that, but that's just sort of how my mind works, is trying to project things forward. And so DB and I talked about this last year, ironically enough, about playing younger guys with on the defense versus kind of letting the old, because his argument was the older guys had kept you in games even if it wasn't going the way you wanted to, right? Like outside of a couple, namely last year Indiana, right? But outside of a couple games, and then I guess Penn State, and I would argue Minnesota, but if you're going to make the argument that Minnesota just nobody showed up, then that's a different thing. But if there is, I'm very much hey, we've kind of seen some of these cracks for a while. Let's go ahead and fix the foundation before it crumbles. And it seems like a lot of coaches, and listen, we're talking about two different defensive coordinators. We're talking about different defensive backs coach. We're talking about different D-line coach. Like, so different decision makers in this process for the most part, that both seem to think like, hey, this group has kept us in it. Let's keep going with that. Where I go, hey, I see it, whether it's some of the run fits against Michigan or, even like, some of the stuff early in the season where you're just like, I don't love how that looks for some of these guys. I'm very much more of the, hey, give me the guy that gives me the best chance in terms of long-term upside versus I feel like the other guys are security blankets, right? Where it's like, hey, I know this is I know the upside on this is only so high, or maybe safety schools is a better word than security blankets. Like, I know the upside on this is only so high, but I know what the floor is, and I'm much more willing to explore upside that I don't know versus being like, let's stick with what the floor is here. Because that, to me, when the floor isn't high enough to keep you in a game like Penn State, when the floor isn't high enough to prevent something like Minnesota from happening, I'm like, what good does the floor do you if it's still going to fall out sometimes? And I wonder if that's the point. Yeah, I agree, Funky Giblets. At some point, you have to find out if the young guys can play or not. I was at that point last year where I would have, and listen, I was wrong about Deshaun Singleton. I didn't think Deshaun Singleton played very well last year. I thought he's played incredible this year. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, so that's a guy that I'm wrong about. I've been wrong about, right? But there's other guys where I go, hey, we've kind of seen a certain amount of this. Like, why don't we try something else? Like, why don't we see, like, the floor hasn't won you anymore. Like, the high floor or knowing where the floor is hasn't really won you anymore. So why don't we see what the potential upside can be? That's how I kind of operate. But it seems to not be how most coaches think.
I don't completely disagree with you. I think that I agree with Funky Giblets. Like, at some point, you got to get the young guys in there, your future. You got to see what they've got. You get them into a live game and see how they act. But at the same time, I think that the older guys and what they do give you. And I understand you're saying, you know where the floor is, and for the most part, you know where their ceiling is. But for the young guys, it's one of those where you don't know where the floor is. Like, you're trying to find the ceiling, obviously, and that you feel like the ceiling's pretty high. You don't know where the floor is, especially in that moment. Like, especially with how young they are, or, how little experience they do have. So in a game like this, trying to figure that out now just seems like a problem. And I don't think that that's something that you really want to mess with right away. Maybe that's one of those where it's towards the end of the game, whether it's, in your favor or not. That's when you get those guys in to figure it out. But I don't know if bringing them in a game of this magnitude just to find that out would be great. And I understand that you brought them in for a reason. You think that they can play. But
can I make an argument for you here?
Instance, it's
So what if they look at it and they go, hey, we think the explosive upside of Iowa's offense is limited enough that this is a good place to find out on some of those guys?
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense defensively for some of that, where you don't think that Iowa's offense is going to explode on you for 30-some points, 20-some points. You think it's going to be, a game played in a phone booth. So you could maybe explore that. But I don't know. I just feel like what you're getting with some of the other guys. And it's one of those where you sprinkle in the youth to figure out what they can give you. But so for the most part, you ride with those guys.
So Captain brings up an interest, and this is why I asked the question. Iowa win means too much to play around today. So that's kind of like where the struggle is for me, right? I agree that this is a really big game, and I think it does change how you view the offseason. I think it changes how you view I think it changes how you view a lot of things today. But I also think that some of the young guys probably needed to play, or should have played by this point, or played more by this point. And so there's a part of me that's like, yeah, I do want to see it. And I do think that it could be better. But there's two things here. Is A, I'm going to be, if they play and it works, I'm going to be really happy that it works. And if they play and it works, like you said, I'm going to be really annoyed that they didn't play earlier.
I mean, I won't be too upset. Like, if they bring in like a freshman or like a redshirt freshman and it works, depending on the spot, depending on who they replaced, I don't know if I'd be that. Like, if they bring in a redshirt freshman for, let's say Javen Wright, like, I'm not going to be that upset because he's played really well this season. I think he's played really well this season. He's had moments.
I mean, let's say,
like, it's one of those situations where you have a guy who is playing well, who has played well before. You bring somebody in to replace them. If they play better, it's one of those where you're sitting there looking at them like, you know what? I understand it. And it's going to look really good in the future. I'm not going to be mad at it.
I mean, so I look at it like, Javen's probably not a great example, but
I was trying to think of somebody I can, like Elijah Judy on the defensive line. You bring in, I don't know who a younger guy that you could bring in that, because you've seen Cade Petchock, like you've seen him, what he offers you, and he's been sprinkled in game to game.
Petchock's more exterior or outside on the defensive line, and Judy's going to be inside a little bit more. But I don't, and this isn't probably a good example, but let's say it's like off the top of my head, like a Dylan Parrott or something. He's a bigger body. He's like 320 pounds on the interior defensive line.
Okay.
I don't think he's a candidate to necessarily get a ton of snaps today, but that's just a name that I've thought of because I liked him when I saw that one practice in the fall. So it's a very whatever. That's just the guy I thought of. So let's say Dylan Parrott plays instead of Elijah Judy, or takes some snaps from Elijah Judy, and Dylan Parrott plays incredible, right? He's the big body defensive tackle that we've all been looking for, and it looks great, and they stuff Iowa's run game. Like, I'm going to be really annoyed that Dylan Parrott didn't play earlier. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be very happy about the results today.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going to be very happy doing post-game with you, in a few hours and saying, hey, Nebraska won. What a great move to put Dylan Parrott in.
Yeah.
But on Monday, I'm going to be like, where the F is Dylan Parrott been all year? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, So that's like a really this is why I find it fascinating if the rumors are true that they're going to make some changes personnel wise today. Again, I don't know if they are, but that's been out there kind of in the Husker Twitter sphere and message board ether, like that's a thing that might happen today. So keep your eyes peeled. We're about done for the day here, Rico, but do you have a score prediction you want to put out there? Put into the universe?
I hate this game. Can I just
know,
say that?
I know.
I hate Nebraska, Iowa. Shout out to the Heroes game though. It's great.
Somebody asked for a nickname. We do have a nickname. It is called the Heroes game.
It's the Heroes game, and it's great.
Somebody did say maybe we should call it the Corn Belt game.
But the trophy is like, I don't care for the actual trophy, but what it means and like the people they bring out, one from Iowa, one from Nebraska, who have been like that's really cool, and I really like that. The trophy kind of stinks. I think instead of football, it should be a corn, like an ear of corn,
like the NAB Preps Awards.
Yeah, like the NAB Preps Awards. But I don't know. I'm gonna say 3 touchdowns seems like a lot. Which is crazy to say.
For anyone to score?
Yeah. I was going to say like 21-17. But in reality, it'll probably be like, you know what? Weird happening alert. Let's go 15-12. Nebraska.
All field goals, or is there a touchdown in there somewhere?
I don't know. Honestly, couldn't tell you.
Are we going with
There's going to be like a couple field goals, maybe a safety, a missed extra point.
That'd be 9 field goals.
Something like that. All field goals. No touchdowns today. Screw it.
Thank you, Frank, for that little gift there. Yes, DBGR, we are doing post game today. It'll be right after the game. It'll be me and Rico on Hail Varsity post game. My prediction, I'm an eternal optimist when it comes to this team because, like I said this week, there's not a single game Nebraska's played this year where I didn't think they were capable of winning. I stand by that. Even with the way that Penn State went, I think they were capable of winning that game. And if I think Nebraska's capable of winning the game, I'm going to predict them to win the game. That's just how I am, right?
Okay.
I understand losses happen. I understand that they're capable of losing as well. But if I think they're capable of winning, I'm predicting a win. And I am predicting Nebraska wins to go to 8-4. I think they win 24-13.
That's so many
over.
points.
It's 37. I think that's still the under.
That's that's so many points for Nebraska.
I think that's still the under. We're going to check here real quick. I believe the over under is still in the 40s. It's 39.5. So 24-13 would still be under. 24-13 would still be under. I'm taking Nebraska 24-13.
Okay.
They're getting the win.
I'll allow it.
8-4. We're gonna have a great offseason.
I need one weird happening from you.
One weird happening?
Like something, out of the ordinary, maybe. For me, I don't know how, but I'm gonna say Mike Eckler deserves the bag. Special teams touchdown for Nebraska today.
Ooh, I was gonna say a scoop and score.
Ooh, okay. Defensive touchdown.
I think
if Nebraska goes full Iowa on Iowa, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think Nebraska scoop and score.
Okay.
I'm envisioning a like Vincent Shavers scoop and score.
Does he still have the club?
Yeah, he's gonna pick it up with one hand and just
Love it.
That is the show for this morning. We appreciate you joining us. I hope you all had a great holiday. Happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday as we get ready for Nebraska, Iowa here. As I mentioned, Rico and I will be back after the game, Hail Varsity post-game show. So make sure you tune in and listen, let's go get this win versus Iowa. Let's go get win number 8 for the first time since 2016. Let's get after it, folks. Go Big Red. We appreciate you as always. Rico, we'll talk to you in a few hours.
Adios.